Hey everybody, it's Jason with All Star Welding. Got a little different one for you today. We're going to do some maintenance on the Vulcan Outlaw 195. It's not a routine maintenance. I had a couple of bolts in the crankcase cover vibrate out. 3 out of the 7 bolts vibrated out, and it let out a lot of oil all over the bed of my truck. So we got to fix that, and we got to do it today. It's Sunday afternoon because I got to use it tomorrow. So grab your coffee or your drink of choice, and let's get started. But first I want to show you what's happening. Okay, so this piece right here, this part right here that has the dipstick in it, that's your crankcase cover for the engine. This is the bell housing for the generator. Well, see this bolt right here? You got one there, you got one here, there's 7 of them. And I don't know about the Briggs, but on the Harbor Freights, the Predators, or the Hondas, there's 7 of them. But my problem is right up here, if you can see my finger, that one and the one on the other side and one on the bottom, what it's doing is it's vibrating out and it's coming all the way out and hitting this. And you know, that's a pretty good gap. Luckily it was hitting this and not falling all the way out. But I lost a lot of oil. Oil got all over the place, and I had to take a 10mm wrench and modify it so that I could get it to fit in there so that I could fix it to go on with about my day. But in order to take these out, we have to take the generator off and this bell housing, because I want to take these bolts, the one that keeps vibrating out, I want to take them all the way out, clean them, put some Loctite on them, and a split washer. Okay, well that didn't really do much. I got the cover off, and still got this in the way, but that's okay. I didn't really need to take this off. I just wanted to, make it easier for y'all to see what I was doing, but I'm just gonna have to stick the camera down in there in the way, and we'll take care of it. But in case you've never taken yours apart, here's what we got. Everything inside this box has to do with the welding current. Your inverter board is in there, your another board that they call the current corrector or something like that, that's in there, and you got 2 big wires coming out to your DINS connections for your welding leads. Back here, these are your outlets if you ever need to change them, which I had to do because one of mine broke, and they're not any kind of special outlet or anything. They're just some outlets you can get at Lowe's or Home Depot or Ace Hardware or something like that. But anyway, this is all your connections. Everything in here is your has to do with the welding, gas tank, fuel cutoff, and I went ahead and also took off this orange little cover that went across the front. Let's see if that helps any. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take out this battery. Now there's 2 zip ties on this wiring harness. You'll find one right here, and there'll be one right here. Go ahead and take your snips, cut those off so that this is loose, so it'll be out of your way in a little bit. Okay, so the next thing we got to do is we got to take this cover off. These are 8mm. There's 3 of them. And again, I'm just using my impact because it's faster. But you don't have to have it. You can use a socket set or a little wrench. That would take forever. Okay, once you get these screws off, this cover normally just comes off, but I had to take a screwdriver, put it on the lip of this, and just kind of tap it with the dead blow hammer. It just fits on there nice and tight. That's why. You know, while you got these things apart, go ahead and give them a clean up. You know, take care of your machine, because this thing's making you money. Let's take care of our little baby here. Now I've got the cover for mine, which I usually use, but I was working late last night, and I knew that I was going to make this video this morning, so I didn't put it on there. And I went to Waffle House to get some breakfast, and while I was in there, it rained. Go figure. So this is your rectifier, and I believe these are your brushes. Before we go any further, I want to take the brushes out, because when we pull this thing off, I don't want those brushes to get hung up on the shaft and break them. And there we go, there's your brushes. All right, and they are kind of fragile, so when you take this thing apart, you want to be careful with this. Alright, so again, these are your brushes. All it is this little holder with two connectors, and these are little carbon blocks. And you see if I can focus on it. See how they're kind of curved at the top, because those are rubbing on some rings, and these are spring loaded. So before you pull this thing apart, I really suggest taking this out, because once this one clears and this one pops out and goes in between those two rings, if you keep pulling it, it could break this one right off, and then you're not making any electricity. Okay, so I kind of skipped ahead on you here. I went ahead and got this turned on its side. Look, if you're going to do this, it might be helpful to take out the gas tank. You know, drain the fuel, take out the gas tank, but we're really just working down here, not up there. So, again, these are these 4 long screws that we have to take out. There's 4 of them, 2 on this side, 2 on the other side. I did go ahead and take my muffler off, and it goes, let me get the flashlight. It goes right there, and there is a gasket there. So I ordered the complete gasket set for this, and it was supposed to be delivered to my Amazon Dropbox last night, and it got to about 10 o'clock, and they sent me a message saying even though it was out for delivery, it's going to be Monday instead, and I got to use this Monday. But I know the small engine guys are probably giving me fits. They're going to get on there and say, oh, you should have changed that gasket. Yeah, you're right, I should have. But it's just like one of these little aluminum compression gaskets. You know, it's not a paper gasket, so it still looks like it's in good shape. But it's a good thing I had to take that off, because these bolts or these nuts on these studs were loose also, and the whole muffler was loose, and so I'm sure that was causing some noise too. So when we put this thing back together, I'm going to be putting a little bit of Loctite on there too. Okay, while I've got this thing laying on its side, so these are the motor mounts. You got 2 back here holding up the generator, and then you got 2 right there holding on the engine. I'm going to go ahead and take this nut off on both of these for the generator. It's 12 millimeter. And I'm going to go ahead and just take these nuts off, but I'm not going to take the motor mounts off yet, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take the spark plug out, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute, because we're going to do a little trick with this rope to keep the cylinders from moving while we take off the generator. You could, let me zoom this out. You could take off this cover and put a bar through through the fins to keep it from turning in this next step we're going to do, but I don't want to risk breaking off one of those cooling fins, so we're going to try this trick that I saw on YouTube, and we're going to see what we can do with that. So the socket that you need for this is a 3/4 socket, and if I had thought about it, I would have gotten the spark plug I needed for this. Since you're taking it out, might as well put a new one in, right? They're only a couple of bucks. So this is, the brand is Torch. Let's see if I can get it on there. It's a Torch brand, and it's a F7TC. F Foxtrot 7 Tango Charlie. Okay, I know this is going to ruffle some feathers from the small engine mechanics that are they're probably already posting on here, but again, I'm not knocking small engine mechanics. They're great at what they do. They're very smart, but they have tools that we don't have. And again, I'm trying to make this video for us common guys that don't have any special tools. And again, all I've used is a 8mm, 10mm, 12mm. We're going to need a 16mm in a minute. And so I've got this screwdriver in the spark plug hole, and I've got it resting on the top of the piston. All right, and I'm going to pull the pull cord real slowly. I'm just going to pull it out, and I'm going to watch my screwdriver. I want it to go all the way down to the bottom, because we're going to take this rope and we're going to stuff the rope into that piston to fill it up with rope, because the next part, when we start taking off the generator, we don't want the piston trying to come up. And so we're going to get it all the way down to the bottom, and then we're going to stuff our rope in. So I'm going to take this pull string, and I'm just going to turn the engine. Wow. All right, there you go. So now I know that that engine is at bottom dead center. You always hear about top dead center, but we got it on the bottom. So I've got this rope. It's just a clothesline rope that I got at Lowe's, and we're just going to start stuffing it down into the spark plug hole, and let's see how much it takes. Okay, well that took forever. So I've got this rope here. It's just, you know, clothesline rope, 1/4 inch maybe, and I stuffed probably 10 or 15 feet, at least 12, into that cylinder, because what I wanted to do was block the piston. And I'm going to swing you around here to the other side and show you what we're doing. Okay, on the back of the generator there's this bolt right here. That's a 16mm, and to make sure that I had that thing, that cylinder stuffed with rope enough, I'm trying to turn it and it ain't going, because all that rope is taking up all that space and it's blocking the cylinder from turning. But what we want to do is we need to take this bolt out. All right, and this generator is held on to the end of the crankshaft on the engine on a tapered shaft. Okay, so it's tapered like this, and then the part that goes on there is tapered the opposite way, and it's just a press fit. Doesn't have a keyway or anything like that, and this bolt is the only thing keeping that on, and it's long. It's a, you know, it's a long bolt, and this is when the fun starts, when we go to take that off. But first, I'm going to go ahead and take out these 4 long bolts, and I'm going to take off these bolts on the mounts. But before I do that, before I take off the mounts, let me show you again. So the generator is held on with that mount and that mount. The engine is held on with that mount and that mount. So I'm going to get a block of wood that I can put right here under this bell housing. Okay, because when I take this off the mounts, the only thing supporting the engine are going to be these front mounts, and we don't want to stress them anymore, so I'm going to put a board under here. Okay, so now for the fun part. Remember we took off the bolts for these motor mounts underneath while it was tilted over? That was 12 millimeter. These nuts on top, they're 14 millimeter, and it's a good thing that I'm taking this apart, because my ground cable, look at that, my ground cable is loose. I mean, it's a generator. They vibrate the hell out of these things, and you know, every once in a while you might just want to, you know, go through here and check your nuts. So anyway, we're going to take this off. This is 14 millimeter, and if you can see up under here, I've got my that's actually 4x4 that I've got supporting the bell housing of the generator, so that when I take these motor mounts off, it's going to have something to sit on. Alright, there's your ground cable. Don't forget to put that back on, because that obviously goes to the negative side of your battery. So I'm going to use this Wonder Bar, and I'm going to gently pry this up just a little bit, see if I can get these motor mounts out. Now you want to be real careful, because this is just cast aluminum, and if you're a welder, you know what I'm talking about, cast aluminum. This stuff is fragile, it's nasty, and you can TIG it back together, but it's not an easy process. Alright, so I see somebody's pulling up out front because they saw my door open, even though it's Sunday afternoon. They think I'm open for some reason. Let me go see what they want. Alright, never mind, that was just a friend of mine. So anyway, I used this Wonder Bar, and I just lifted up on this lightly to take out these motor mounts. That's why you got to put this 4x4 underneath the bell housing part of the generator. Alright, so now that we got that done, I'm going to take this 10 millimeter and I'm going to take out these long bolts. And once again, I keep wanting to stress this. I'm only using my impact because it's faster. I'm trying to make this video for the normal person that doesn't have small engine repair tools, Because look, you know, I want y'all to leave a comment, okay? But leave a decent comment. Don't get on there and say, oh, I've got this $400 tool that would have blocked that piston. Well, good for you. You know, we don't have one of those, so shut the hell up. I don't want to hear about it. I'm not trying to disparage small engine mechanics. I love the guys. They're good at what they do and we need them, but we're trying to do this ourselves with normal tools that we got in our garage, all right? So if you're gonna leave a comment, leave a good one. Jesus. So these are the bolts. See, they're kind of long, but they're not as long as the next one we're fixing to take out. All right, so that's 4 of those long bolts, and we've got a little wiring harness. We got 3 little wires here, and there's a little plug right there that goes in that slot to plug that up. So we got to take these off, just these little 3 wires, and they're labeled 03, 04, 05. And it's red, white, red, and it skips that one in the middle because that white goes to both of them. Okay, so through enough. Oh, and I went and got my fiberglass welding blanket to put under here in case it pops off. You got a moving blanket, some towels, anything like that to protect it. But hitting these tabs lightly so you don't break them off with a dead blow hammer. If you don't have one of those, again, you can go to Harbor Freight, pick one up. About 10 bucks. They're invaluable. But I finally got this thing to separate, and let me pull it the rest of the way off. This part is very heavy. This is, I think the whole generator part probably weighs more than the engine. So be prepared for that when you pull this off, because it's hefty. You know, have a place to put it when you get it off. But let me get this off. Okay, so the part that I just pulled off, that's called the stator, and how you can remember which one is the stator and which one is the rotator. The stator is stationary, so that's the outer part. The inner part rotates, so that's the rotor. But it's, I think the correct terminology is armature. I've heard it called both, but you know, you call it what you want. All right, so this is the fun part. That bolt, let me find it. There you go. So this bolt, I didn't need to take this out for this step. This goes all the way in, and this holds this part to that tapered shaft that's actually the back side of the crankshaft. And so we're going to do something with this. This actually screws into the back, and we're going to make a puller, sort of. Yeah, you're going to like this part. So what we do is we take the Sharpie. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. All right, so actually we can pull this out and take these washers off, so that we'll put them back on just a minute so we don't lose them. But I want you to be able to see this. So we're going to put it in just until we feel it bottom out on those threads. Not going to put it in. And then we're going to take our Sharpie and we're just going to mark where that end is. There. So there's our little mark. Okay, so I have an M12 1.75, and I'm gonna see if it threads in there. Can we be that lucky? Come on, baby. No. No. Dang. Oh, I can see right now that's fine thread. That's gonna be a 1.25. This is coarse thread, 1.75. So let me go see if I've got one of those. If not, I'm gonna have to run to the store. Dang it. Okay, so that was a crazy ordeal. I left and I went to Lowe's to get the bolt that I needed. Turned out to be a M12 1.25 fine thread. But while I was there, I went back out to my truck and it wouldn't start. I had to get a jump. And then I went across the street to the auto parts store. They tested the battery, said it had 11 volts, but it only had 47 cranking amps. So I had to buy a new battery, 250 bucks. Thank God for American Express, huh? Jeez. All right, so back to what we were doing. All right, so remember we took out this bolt that went all the way through to the threaded rod, to the tapered shaft, and we marked it as far as it would go. We marked it right there. So now I put this bolt in, and I've pretty much got this in as far as I want to go with it. Luckily, the end right here was already threaded. I've had some where they were not threaded and I had to tap it out myself. And that's when I did the M12 1.75. But, so what we're going to do, we're going to take our Sharpie again and we're going to mark this now where that bolt went in and bottomed out. Then we're going to take it out and we're going to see, it'll turn a little bit until it hits that rope that we put into the cylinder to stop this from turning. So we're going to take this back out. And I probably could have got this bolt in a little bit deeper, but it doesn't take much. This method that I'm doing here is a standard practice for pulling these things off. A lot of people do it. But there's actually a guy on YouTube that fills this up with water and then puts a bolt in. But you got to stand it up on the end, fill this up with water all the way up to the top, and then you start putting in this bolt, and the pressure of the water pops it off. Crazy. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to align the mark on this long bolt with the mark on this bolt that we just put in. See if I can show you here. So we're going to align those two marks, and we're going to make another line halfway between this mark and the end. And now we're going to cut a piece of just straight rod that's as long as from here to this mark that we just made. Alright, so let me get that cut and I'll show you what we're going to do with it. Okay, so what I did was I cut a piece of 3/8 rod and I put it at the bottom of this long bolt, and I cut it to the second mark that we made. So this first mark up here at the top is how far this thing bottoms out. This mark is halfway between where that bolt goes through and this mark. So all we have to do, and you're gonna like this. Let me zoom this in again. And I'm sorry about the lighting on this. I can see in here, but I want to make sure you can. All right, so we're just going to push that in there. And the reason why you want to use the biggest solid rod that you can is you can use threaded rod if you want, but you don't want this to start engaging the threads at the end of that crankshaft, because that can mess it up. So we're going to set that there. Now this thing's going to pop out, and it's kind of heavy, and we want to protect it. So I'm going to put this blanket on there again, and we're going to tighten this down. And then remember, we got that rope in there, so it's going to turn a couple times till it hits that rope, and then it's going to bottom out right there. And then we just start turning, and in a minute it's going to pop that right off that thread, off that tapered shaft. Oh, that thing's on there. And you'll know when it comes off because it pretty much jumps out at you. I think that was it. Oh, no. May have to stuff some more rope in there. Okay, well, let me see if I can expand and explain the disclaimer at the beginning of the video. I worked on this thing yesterday. It was getting pretty late and I was hungry, so I went and ate with the intentions of coming back and finishing. But when I got back, I was just so tired. I just packed it in, went to sleep. Before I went to sleep, I went ahead and downloaded the video segments that I have recorded thus far, and they downloaded fine, and I had them on my laptop, and I was watching them, trying to think in my head of how I was going to edit it, and one or two of the last video segments that I recorded were corrupt, and one of them had, I had a file size, but it was black. It was all black, and so after I downloaded everything onto my computer, I put the card back in my camera, and I used the camera to format it, and the format failed. So from the bottom of my heart, I am so sorry. I hope that up to that point you had seen enough to carry on with this type of repair, pulling off the generator. And like I said, it's pretty easy, and this kind of thing can be used not just for the Outlaw, but any generator that you're working on, where you have a bad generator and you want to put a new one on, or you have a bad engine and you want to put a new engine on a good generator. Either way, you know, the process is the same, and assembly is just, you know, the reverse of taking it apart. You know, you always see that in instructions. But man, I was so pissed. You just won't believe it. I just had a lump in my throat and I broke out in a sweat. I didn't know how I was going to recover from this, but you know, it is what it is. You know, doing these videos takes time, you know, and it takes a lot of editing, and it takes, you know, different takes. You know, you got to redo things. You got to think about what you're going to video and how you're going to show it, how you're going to talk about it. This afternoon when I went to lunch, I was in town, and I stopped by an electronics store, Walmart actually, and I picked up a new SD card and popped it in the camera, formatted it, and, you know, made a couple of test videos, and everything was fine. So but by then I'd already had this back together, and the only thing I'm going to do now that I got left to do is you know, push it back here in the truck. I've got holes drilled in my bed, and I use U-bolts to you know, fasten it down so nobody steals it. But you know, if they want it, they're going to steal it anyway. But I'm never too far from my truck, and it parks here in the shop inside at night. And if I stop to eat, you know, I always park where I can see it, and so I'm never too far away from it. So hopefully nothing will get stolen. And I see my battery lights flashing now, so I'm going to go ahead and end it. I appreciate y'all watching, and got some more videos coming. Some of the subscribers have requested some different things, so I'm going to work on getting those done in between work. I'm slammed right now, but you know, I'm gonna work hard to get those done. And again, I apologize, and I really appreciate you watching this. And you know, hopefully, you know, you gleaned enough from it to, you know, see what I was trying to do. But anyway, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you subscribing. Watch out for those more videos coming, and I appreciate every single one of y'all. And leave a comment, and you know, be nice about it. You know, there's no sense in being jerks. Just, you know, if you don't like it, don't watch it. You know, you don't have to leave a comment saying you didn't like it. Well, I'm sorry, you know, I hate it for you. But you know, these videos do help a lot of people. I can tell that from the comments that people leave. So anyway, I'm dirty. Let's get cleaned up. Tomorrow's another day. Thanks.